Hello, so in this video I'm going to talk through how to use the hydrology calculator spreadsheet as displayed here. I'm going to talk through the individual tabs and what you have to input in each tab and what is happening in each tab. So if we start with the user guide tab, so in here is some information around the spreadsheet, what each tab and sheet is doing, a description here as to what it does and what you'll need to do, and some images and print screens so you can know what to expect. There's a bit of a summary of the spreadsheet calculator here, and also it shows you which catchment it is we're looking at with a name and where it sits within Devon and Cornwall. There will be a different spreadsheet for each catchment, so make sure you're looking at the spreadsheet relevant to the catchment you're interested in. So we go through to the glossary tab. Here is a breakdown of the different terminology we use, looking at the different intervention types that the tool considers, so infiltration, NFM interventions, catchment storage, NFM interventions, and in-channel NFM interventions, and a bit of a description about what they are. So the catchment analysis tab, this is the main tab in which we can view the hydrographs. So here on the left-hand side of the screen are the hydrographs for each return period. So hydrographs for 1 in 2, 1 in 10, 1 in 20, 1 in 50, and 1 in 100-year events. The purple solid line here shows the baseline hydrograph, so that is without any NFM interventions implemented in the catchment. That is just currently what the hydrograph would look like. And then you've got the orange dashed line, so this would be if all the NFM interventions from NFMStudio were implemented, this is what the hydrograph would look like in the different return period events. And also that we've got the green dotted line, so this is whatever selected NFM interventions you choose. You can input it down here, which I'll talk you through in a moment, and so that's what the green dotted line is your selected NFM interventions. So as I mentioned, all the information that you wish to display on the hydrographs can be done on this side of the screen here. Again, the boxes are broken down into the 3 different NFM interventions, so infiltration, catchment storage, and in-channel. The orange boxes relate to the all NFM interventions options. These are the results from the NFMStudio modelling. There are options for the infiltration, so there were 3 different options modelled. So it was a land use change option, a soil recovery option, and a woodland creation option. So choose whichever infiltration intervention option you're interested in, and this will change the hydrographs, particularly the orange hydrograph here. It's important to mention that this will apply NFM across the whole catchment. So if you're interested in perhaps only a small land holding, or you want to show what NFM interventions have already been implemented, then you can add these volumes to the green boxes. So at the moment here we're showing this simplified version where you would add the total runoff reduction from either measures that have already been implemented in the catchment, or if you're interested in only implementing NFM on a certain land holding or a certain size or whatever. So you can add your selected NFM interventions into these boxes here, and I would have it the same volume across all the return periods. And then this will show on this graph here. So if I change this to 600, then the green line will change. If you have more information, so the superficial runoff reduction, interflow increase and infiltration increase, then you can choose the full analysis. All these values will be available from the NFMStudio results on the ARC online mapping. I go back to the simplified just to implement the total runoff reduction. So the next NFM intervention type is the catchment storage, and again there were two different options modelled through the NFMStudio modelling. So a min catchment storage, this would only be one bund per flow pathway, or a max catchment storage, and this would be the maximum number of bunds per flow pathway implemented. And again, in the orange box, this is all across the catchments. This is if you implemented this particular NFM option across the whole catchment. But if you only wanted to perhaps put in one bund or bunds in a certain area, then you can implement the in the green box here to add the total volume of any potential flow storage options that you might be interested in implementing, and this again will change the green line. So the green line again is the selected NFM interventions, the orange is all NFM interventions, and purple is the baseline. And then finally, the last NFM intervention type is the in-channel. So there were no options, different options to choose from. There's only one option from the all NFM catchment, across the whole catchment, so this is automatically populated. But if you do want to add some particular values that whatever you're interested in implementing, then you can put it in the green boxes. You can either fill in the temporary attenuation or the total storage. There's two different ways it can be calculated. You can add both or just one of the options, and it will calculate it. And then we need to make sure that the model is calibrated. So simply click this button here if the calibration is not correct icon appears. This would be particularly true if you change the any of the selected NFM interventions. So simply click that and it will run through a calibration and show that the calibration is correct. And once that's actually shown, then that you can take the hydrograph further. This just takes a little bit of time. So once the calibration has been done correctly, you can see this green box appears to say calibration is correct. So here on the right now, it displayed the calibrated hydrographs for the baseline, all NFM interventions in the orange, and your selected NFM interventions in the green. At the bottom here is just some information in the back that runs in the background to calculate the baseline, so you can ignore section 3 here. There is a button here called Extract Hydrograph Flow, and if you press this, then the data, a new tab appears called Catchment Hydrographs, and in here is presented all the data for the hydrographs. So if you need to access that to present it in a different way. On the Hydrograph Analysis tab, this shows another breakdown of how you can look at the results. So if you have a different hydrograph or observed flow data for your particular catchment that you'd be interested in looking at the hydrograph for, you can implement it here, and simply add the data into the correct columns, and then you can add the different interventions that you'd be interested in implementing in the catchment, again split into the infiltration NFM interventions, catchment storage NFM interventions, and in-channel NFM interventions. And again, make sure that the calibration is done, so it says calibration correct in this box here. And then displayed On the right hand side again is the baseline, the solid purple line, and your selected NFM interventions in the green. And again, we've got a similar button here to extract hydrograph flow data. So if you press this, another tab will appear called Hydrograph Analysis Output. And in here is presented the baseline and NFM interventions hydrographs, again, if you wish to present it in a different way. So this is the hydrograph spreadsheet calculator. I hope that's gone through and calculated